Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. What if I told you that every success you've ever dreamed of, every failure you've endured, every moment of growth or stagnation can be traced back to one simple word: discipline? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not connections or genius. It's discipline. The quiet, relentless force that moves mountains, molds greatness, and carries ordinary people to extraordinary heights. Take a moment and think. Why is it that some people can push through hardship, discomfort, and distraction to build lives of purpose and excellence, while others, equally capable, drown in indulgence, excuses, and regret? Why does one person rise at 5 a.m. to train while another snoozes the alarm for the fifth time? Why does one person finish their goals while the other only talks about them? Have you ever met someone who wasn't the smartest in the room, but always got things done? Someone who, against all odds, kept showing up, kept grinding, kept their word, and in the end came out on top? That's the power of discipline. And that's exactly what Ryan Holiday explores in his profound book, Discipline is Destiny. This isn't just a motivational slogan. It's a truth that echoes through history. From stoic emperors to selfless monarchs, from baseball legends to modern warriors of character and restraint. Discipline is what shapes our future, and Ryan Holiday shows us how. Discipline is Destiny is the second book in Ryan Holiday's Stoic Virtue series, following Courage is Calling. Where the first book delved into the bravery required to start, this one is about the strength to continue, to endure, to perfect. In it, Holiday dismantles the modern misunderstanding of discipline as something cold, rigid, or punishing. Instead, he presents it as the ultimate form of love for your future self, your work, your family, your calling. Discipline is not about denying yourself joy. It's about mastering yourself so you can live with intention, not impulse. Through compelling, often emotional stories, Holiday paints a powerful picture of what true discipline looks like. He draws from the lives of people like Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who led Rome with wisdom, Queen Elizabeth II, whose quiet, lifelong service became a beacon of steadiness, Lou Gehrig, the baseball hero who faced a terminal illness with courage and grace, and countless others who showed us that greatness is forged in stillness, not chaos. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build, decision by decision, habit by habit, over time. If you're tired of starting and never finishing, if you're exhausted by your own excuses, if you know deep down that you're capable of more, but keep falling short, this summary is for you. Because mastering discipline isn't just about being more productive. It's about becoming the kind of person who can be trusted. Trusted by others, and more importantly, trusted by yourself. When you commit to self-discipline, you stop negotiating with your lower self. You start living according to principles, not feelings. You start choosing what's meaningful over what's comfortable. This video will walk you through the core insights of Discipline is Destiny, not in dry bullet points, but in powerful, life-changing reflections. You'll learn why discipline is more than willpower. You'll discover how the Stoics understood and practiced it in times of war, leadership, and crisis. You'll see how physical habits, mental clarity, and spiritual commitment all come together to create a life of excellence. And most importantly, you'll be challenged, not just to think differently, but to live differently. To begin now, to build the discipline that will shape your destiny. Because this isn't just a summary, it's a call to action. Your future is watching. What are you going to do about it? Part 1. What is discipline really? We often hear the word discipline and immediately think of something harsh, strict, or even punishing. It's that cold voice in our heads telling us to get out of bed when we'd rather sleep in, to resist the dessert, to keep studying when everyone else is out having fun. But Ryan Holiday wants us to rethink that idea. Discipline, at its core, isn't about punishment. It's about self-respect. It's about loving yourself enough to do what's right, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the muscle that holds the dream together after the motivation fades. Everyone has goals, everyone has ambition, but only a few ever live them out. Why? Because goals without discipline are just fantasies. They look good on vision boards, but die in the face of real life. Discipline is what takes an idea and makes it real. It is the invisible thread that connects thought to action, desire to outcome, wish to result. In Discipline is Destiny, Holiday reintroduces us to discipline through the lens of Stoicism. Not as a set of rules or harsh commandments, but as a way of living that aligns us with nature and reason. The Stoics believed that the ultimate aim of life is to live according to nature, to be in harmony with the way the universe works. That means not being controlled by your impulses, your emotions, or the chaos around you. It means using your reason, your values, and your higher self to shape your decisions. Discipline, in this context, isn't suppression. It's transformation. It's choosing what is best over what is easy. It's acting with clarity instead of being driven by chaos. Ryan Holiday draws a clear line between the false image of discipline as restriction and the truth of discipline as freedom. He reminds us that the person who is ruled by pleasure, distraction, or laziness is not free. They're a slave. They are chained to every craving, every mood, every temptation. Real freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Real freedom is having the strength to do what's right, to walk away from what harms you, to say no to what weakens you, to show up over and over again for what matters most. Think of discipline like a compass. When the storms of life blow in and you lose sight of the shoreline, discipline keeps you pointed toward your values, your purpose, your true north. It doesn't eliminate the storm, but it stops you from drifting. Or think of it like a sculptor's chisel. Discipline chips away at the excess, the distractions, the lies you tell yourself, until what remains is the clearest, truest version of who you are. It's not glamorous, it's not always fun, but it's sacred. And every swing of that chisel is an act of creation. History is rich with examples of people who embodied this kind of discipline. Abraham Lincoln, for instance, didn't just lead a nation through civil war, he did it with profound restraint. Despite unbearable pressure and personal tragedy, he rarely lashed out, rarely lost control. His discipline wasn't just political, it was moral. He understood the weight of his decisions and bore it with composure. Then there's Queen Elizabeth II. For over 70 years, she showed up for her role, through crisis, scandal, loss, and change. Not with flashy charisma, but with consistency, with devotion, with the kind of quiet discipline that builds trust across generations. Discipline isn't about impressing people. It's about living by your principles when no one's watching. It's about making promises to yourself and keeping them. It's about showing up to write when you don't feel like it, to run when it's raining, to apologize when it's hard. It's about choosing long-term character over short-term comfort. In today's world, we are surrounded by messages that tell us to give in. You deserve it. Just this once. Take it easy. And sure, rest has its place. But let's be honest, Most of us aren't drowning in overwork. We're drowning in distraction, in self-indulgence, in excuses. Discipline is the antidote to that. It pulls us out of the fog. It brings clarity, sharpness, and control. So here's the real question. Where in your life are you enslaved by ease, when discipline could set you free? Maybe it's your health, where one more binge, one more skipped workout, is slowly stealing your vitality. Maybe it's your work, where procrastination is killing your dreams one deadline at a time. Maybe it's your relationships, where you keep saying what's easy instead of what's true. Wherever it is, you don't need more hacks or apps. You need discipline, not as a punishment, but as a declaration. I am better than this. I choose better than this. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself to live a joyless life. It's about cultivating a life filled with deeper joy. Joy that comes from purpose, from achievement, from self-respect. It's not about saying no to everything. It's about saying yes to the things that truly matter. And that begins with you, with one choice, one action, one step forward. Because discipline isn't something you wait for. It's something you do. Part 2. The 3 pillars of discipline. Body, mind, and soul. Discipline is not a one-dimensional tool. It's a total way of living. Ryan Holiday breaks it down into a powerful framework of 3 interconnected pillars: the body, the mind, and the soul. These are the arenas where the battle for discipline is fought and won. To master your destiny, you must master all 3. 1. Mastery over the body. Let's begin with the physical. The body is the foundation of discipline. It's where every habit lives, every action takes shape, and every decision becomes real. Consider the story of Lou Gehrig. He wasn't the most gifted athlete when he started, but what he lacked in natural advantage, he made up for in relentless discipline. He played through injuries, discomfort, and pain. For 2,130 consecutive games, he showed up. No complaints, no excuses. That streak earned him the nickname, the Iron Horse. He didn't just play baseball, he embodied the discipline required to master the body, day in and day out. Why does this matter today? Because we live in a culture that encourages the opposite. We're told to chase comfort, convenience, and instant gratification. Junk food is delivered in 10 minutes. Entertainment never stops. Our lives are padded with cushions, physically and emotionally. We are overstimulated and undermoved. And that's a recipe for mental and spiritual decay. You cannot be sharp in the mind or clear in the soul if your body is undisciplined. Holiday writes, "What we do with our bodies is a reflection of our values." Do you respect yourself enough to move your body, to nourish it, to get enough rest? Or are you running on caffeine and willpower, expecting to do great things with a neglected vessel? Physical discipline isn't just about fitness. It's about form. How you sit, how you breathe, how you carry yourself in the world. Great leaders don't slouch. Warriors don't walk with their heads down. Posture is purpose. Strength is a signal. Sleep is sacred. The ancient Stoics knew this. They believed the body was not to be worshipped, but it was to be respected. Marcus Aurelius bathed quickly, ate simply, and rose early. He didn't train for vanity, he trained for life. Because if you cannot say no to sugar, sloth, or screen addiction, how will you say no to temptation, fear, or injustice? Your body is your instrument. If it's weak, your will falters. If it's unhealthy, your focus fades. If it's neglected, your mission is compromised. Discipline begins in the flesh, in the routine of getting up, showing up, and moving with intention. master your body, and you anchor yourself in the real world. You give your goals a vessel strong enough to carry them. Ask yourself, what is your body saying about your values right now? 2. Mastery over the mind. While the body is the engine, the mind is the driver. Without clarity, discipline becomes directionless. Without focus, effort is wasted. The second pillar is about mental mastery, about taking command of your thoughts, your emotions, and your internal dialogue. Let's go back to Marcus Aurelius. Picture this: an emperor of Rome leading his people through war, famine, and plague. Amidst chaos, he would retreat, not to luxury, but to a journal. There, in the pages of what we now call meditations, he would write reminders to himself to stay calm, to accept fate, to do what was right regardless of circumstances. That is the essence of mental discipline, the ability to do what is right, not what feels good. To think clearly when others are overwhelmed. To choose action when fear whispers, wait. Holiday calls this mind over mood, and it's perhaps the most essential skill of our time. In a world full of noise, confusion, and manipulation, the disciplined mind is rare. It resists distractions. It controls its attention. It speaks to itself with truth, not excuses. When the undisciplined mind spirals into emotion, comparison, or panic, the disciplined mind asks, what's the next right thing to do? Focus isn't just about productivity, it's about power. The person who can focus is the person who can finish. The person who can control their thoughts is the person who can shape their destiny. But this takes work. Meditation, reflection, reading, restraint. It takes saying no to social media, to gossip, to the dopamine junk food of endless scrolling. Mental discipline also means managing your emotional states. You're going to feel tired, you're going to feel overwhelmed, you're going to want to quit. That's normal. But the disciplined person doesn't make decisions based on how they feel. They make decisions based on what they value. Feelings pass, principles stay. So here's a powerful question. What is one thing your undisciplined mind keeps talking you out of doing? Third, mastery over the soul. The final pillar is the soul. This is where discipline becomes destiny. Physical strength is useful. Mental clarity is powerful. But soul discipline is what makes a life meaningful. This is where discipline stops being about you and starts becoming about what you're here to do. Ryan Holiday describes discipline as spiritual armor. It protects your integrity. It shields your purpose from the attacks of pleasure, laziness, fear, and distraction. Soul discipline is living with moral clarity. It's knowing what you stand for and standing for it. Take Florence Nightingale. She was born into wealth. She could have lived a comfortable, aristocratic life. Instead, she felt called to serve. During the Crimean War, she endured disease, danger, and filth to care for wounded soldiers. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't easy, but it was her duty. She gave her life to that duty. That's discipline of the soul. Or Winston Churchill. During World War II, when others doubted, panicked, or pleaded for surrender, Churchill held the line. He carried the weight of a nation's hope with stubborn, unwavering resolve. He didn't do it for fame. He did it because it was right. Because freedom was worth fighting for. Because history demanded a disciplined soul. To master your soul is to know your why and to never betray it. It's to build your life around principles, not impulses. Virtue, not ego. Purpose, not popularity. And when temptation whispers, when comfort seduces, when fear shouts, you remember what you want. That's the heartbeat of discipline. Holiday says, discipline is remembering what you want. Not what you want right now, but what you want most. When you have soul discipline, you don't just resist temptation, you transcend it. You are guided by something deeper, a sense of duty, a calling, a standard you refuse to lower. And this doesn't just impact your life, it radiates outward. The disciplined soul becomes a force of calm in chaos, courage in crisis, and compassion in cruelty. Your discipline becomes your legacy. Your character becomes your contribution. So pause and reflect. What do you want most? And what are you willing to suffer for to get it? Mastering the body gives you strength. Mastering the mind gives you clarity. Mastering the soul gives you purpose. These are the three pillars of discipline that Ryan Holiday teaches, not in theory, but through stories, wisdom, and practical truth. You don't have to master all of them today. You just have to begin. Pick one pillar. Build one habit. Make one choice that your future self will thank you for. And then repeat, day by day, action by action. That's how discipline becomes your destiny. Part 3. Discipline through historical lenses. Discipline isn't just a personal virtue. It's a thread that runs through the lives of the most impactful people in history. It's what gave them courage in fear, strength in suffering, and clarity in chaos. Ryan Holiday, in Discipline is Destiny, doesn't just preach discipline. He shows it in motion, through the stories of those who lived it best. These aren't just tales from the past. They are reminders that greatness is often quiet, unseen, and rooted in the daily decision to do what must be done. 1. Lou Gehrig, Strength in Silence. Lou Gehrig's legacy is built not only on his baseball achievements, but on how he carried himself off the field, especially when the game of life threw him its cruelest curveball. For 17 seasons, Gehrig played first base for the New York Yankees. His consistency was legendary. 2,130 consecutive games, an endurance record that stood for decades. But what truly immortalized him wasn't his statistics. It was his quiet strength when everything fell apart. In 1939, Gehrig was diagnosed with ALS, what we now call Lou Gehrig's disease, a death sentence. His body would waste away, his muscles would give out. But his spirit? That stayed unshaken. At his farewell speech in Yankee Stadium, with the disease already gripping his limbs, he stood before a packed crowd and said the words that still echo through time. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. That is discipline, not denying the pain, but choosing how to face it. Lou Gehrig showed us that discipline is not just about showing up when it's easy. It's about carrying yourself with dignity when the world says you have every reason to fall apart. Holiday reminds us, you can be dying inside and still live fully. Discipline gives you that power, the ability to decide who you will be regardless of your circumstances. In an age where emotions often dictate actions, Gehrig's life reminds us that character still matters. He didn't rage. He didn't collapse. He stood tall. And that's something we can all aspire to. 2. Queen Elizabeth II, Duty as Discipline. Queen Elizabeth II wore discipline like a crown, not loud, not boastful, but steady and unshakable. Ascending the throne at 25, she reigned for over 70 years through wars, scandals, revolutions, and radical change. Yet, through it all, she remained a constant. While politicians rose and fell, monarchs abdicated, and empires crumbled, she endured. Why? Because she believed in duty, in service, in the power of showing up every day for decades. She once said, "I have to be seen to be believed." And so she was, at ceremonies, at crises, in rain, in grief, in pandemic broadcasts. At times her presence seemed ceremonial, but behind the scenes was a life of relentless order. Early morning briefings, official correspondence, handwritten notes, daily routines that never faltered. To many, monarchy seems outdated, but in Queen Elizabeth II, we saw something timeless, discipline in its most graceful form. No outbursts, no excuses, no grand gestures, just a woman who took her role seriously, who believed that what she represented was bigger than how she felt. In Discipline is Destiny, Holiday explains that discipline is not flashy. It's quiet, repetitive, devoted. The Queen exemplified this. She was not dramatic. She was dependable. And in a world obsessed with novelty, she reminded us of the power of consistency. Discipline is doing your duty, whether or not you feel like it, whether the cameras are rolling or not, whether history applauds or forgets. And in that, the Queen became a symbol, not of royal privilege, but of stoic responsibility. That's a legacy worth studying. 3. Marcus Aurelius, calm amid chaos. Imagine trying to lead an empire during a pandemic, a brutal war, and internal rebellion, all while raising a son and struggling with your own health. Now imagine doing that without losing your composure. That was Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor whose life was a masterclass in discipline. He ruled Rome during one of its most tumultuous eras. Plague swept through the empire. Enemies threatened its borders. Friends betrayed him. And yet, he remained calm, centered, rational. His secret weapon? A notebook. In stolen moments, while leading troops after meetings in the stillness of night, he wrote what became Meditations. Not a book for others, but a personal reminder to focus, to forgive, to act rightly, and to resist the pull of ego and emotion. Holiday emphasizes this. Marcus Aurelius journaled as an act of discipline, a way to guide himself back to virtue, to stay centered when the world was collapsing. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's what real discipline looks like. Governing yourself before governing others. Taking responsibility for your own mind, even when the world gives you every reason to lose it. Today, we scroll through our phones when we're stressed. Marcus wrote to himself. He didn't vent, he didn't spiral, he recalibrated. Every leader, every parent, every person navigating chaos can learn from this. If you can master your thoughts, you can master your life. Discipline isn't cold, it's composed. And in Marcus Aurelius, we see its highest expression. 4. Eisenhower, Harriet Tubman, Fred Rogers, lesser-known stories of discipline. Discipline isn't one size fits all. It wears many faces, some bold, some soft, but all unwavering in purpose. Let's explore 3 figures you may not instantly associate with discipline, but whose lives demonstrate its many shades. Dwight D. Eisenhower, the discipline of order. As the Supreme Commander of Allied Forces in World War II, and later the President of the United States, Eisenhower was known for his calm, deliberate decision-making. Behind that calm, an iron grip on structure. He used a decision matrix to prioritize tasks. He blocked time for deep thinking. He rose early and maintained routines that sharpened his mind and leadership. He even kept a photograph of General Robert E. Lee in his office, not because he idolized him, but to remind himself of the weight of decisions and the need for disciplined judgment. Holiday references this structured discipline as essential to leadership. When others react, leaders must respond, with reason, not rage. That takes preparation. That takes discipline. Harriet Tubman, The Discipline of Courage. Few lives required more inner strength than Harriet Tubman's. Born into slavery, she escaped, only to return again and again to free others. She navigated treacherous paths, hostile territory, and constant threats. What powered her wasn't fearlessness. It was disciplined bravery. She didn't act on impulse. She planned. She listened. She adjusted. She refused to let fatigue, weather, or danger break her rhythm. Tubman was methodical, focused, and spiritually grounded. Her discipline wasn't physical alone. It was moral. She believed in freedom, and no force, not even death, could deter her from it. Holiday reminds us, discipline is remembering what you want. Tubman wanted liberty, not just for herself, but for her people. That memory burned brighter than her fear. Fred Rogers, The Discipline of Kindness. You might not think of Mr. Rogers as a model of discipline, but consider this. For over 30 years, he created and hosted a children's television program that never wavered in its message or tone. Behind that gentle voice was military-grade consistency. He wrote every script. He reviewed every word. He rehearsed every gesture. Why? Because he believed children deserved respect and care. He woke up at 5 a.m. daily, swam laps, prayed for people by name, and stuck to routines with monk-like devotion. Holiday would call this spiritual discipline, a commitment to living one's values day after day. Fred Rogers showed that kindness isn't passive. It's a choice, a disciplined one. Lou Gehrig taught us that pain doesn't have to steal our poise. Queen Elizabeth showed that service is sustained by structure. Marcus Aurelius modeled how reflection becomes resilience, and Eisenhower, Tubman, and Rogers proved that discipline takes many forms, but all are rooted in unwavering purpose. Their lives whisper the same truth. Discipline isn't just a path to greatness. It is greatness. It doesn't matter where you start, on a throne, a battlefield, a ball field, or a television set. What matters is how you show up, how you hold yourself, how you lead with your body, your mind, and your soul. History doesn't remember those who merely felt strongly. It remembers those who acted with steady hands and sturdy hearts. That's discipline. That's destiny. Part 4. How to build discipline today. Discipline is not reserved for monks or military elites. It's for anyone who is tired of being ruled by impulses, distractions, and excuses. You, watching this now, already have what it takes to change your life. Not through radical overhauls or 10-step hacks, but through commitment to the basics, done with unwavering consistency. Ryan Holiday insists that discipline isn't about deprivation. It's about direction. It's not about control for control's sake. It's about unlocking a deeper power, the power to be who you were meant to be. 1. Start small. Stay consistent. We live in a world that glorifies overnight transformations, but real discipline doesn't come from dramatic gestures. It starts with the smallest possible action, repeated with relentless focus. Ryan Holiday writes, "The smallest step is the most important. That's because it sets everything else in motion. Small acts compound into powerful results. They reshape our identity. Think of the compounding effect like interest in a savings account. If you consistently invest tiny deposits of effort, waking up early, stretching, writing for 10 minutes, choosing water over soda, over time, those deposits multiply. They shape who you believe you are. You're no longer someone who wants to be disciplined. You're someone who is disciplined. Start with one anchor habit. It could be making your bed as soon as you wake up, or drinking a full glass of water. or journaling for 5 minutes before work. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about training your brain. I follow through. I finish. I choose the harder right over the easier wrong. You don't need to overhaul your life today. You just need to start. Then show up again tomorrow. And again, and again. Discipline isn't something you summon once. It's something you build every day, with every small, steady step. 2. Remove the unnecessary. The disciplined life isn't about doing more. It's about doing less. In a culture obsessed with more apps, more stimulation, and more choices, Holiday makes a striking claim. Discipline is subtraction. It's not about addition. It's about elimination. Removing the non-essentials is often the most powerful act of self-control. Every distraction is a tax on your time, a leak in your focus, a theft of your destiny. We are overstimulated, overcommitted, overwhelmed. Our phones vibrate with demands. Social media drowns our attention. Endless streaming numbs our clarity. But you weren't born to live scattered. You were born to live aligned. Start with a distraction audit. For 7 days, track the things that steal your time, derail your energy, and fracture your focus. What apps do you scroll mindlessly? What conversations leave you drained? What habits numb rather than nourish? Now cut, ruthlessly. Delete what doesn't serve you. Turn off notifications. Block websites if you have to. Say no more often. The disciplined life requires borders, boundaries, barriers that protect your time like sacred ground. You don't need to manage more. You need to allow less. Less clutter, less noise, less drama. In the space that's left, you'll find clarity. And with clarity comes power. The power to be intentional with every minute of your life. 3. Live by a code. Without a code, life becomes chaos. You chase moods instead of meaning. You serve comfort instead of character. Discipline without a code is like a soldier without a mission, aimless, vulnerable, and easily broken. Ryan Holiday reminds us, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And at the heart of every great system is a code, a set of principles that doesn't bend when pressure mounts. Your code is your compass. It tells you who you are, even when you forget. It protects you from temptation, guides you through doubt, and keeps you upright when the world shakes you down. What are your non-negotiables? What values will you uphold even when no one's watching? Maybe your code includes, I don't lie, especially to myself. I move my body every day. I show up on time. I finish what I start. I speak with honesty and kindness. These aren't resolutions, they're rules for living. Write your code, post it somewhere visible, and repeat it daily like a creed. Even better, craft a personal mantra. Something short, powerful, and true. Something you whisper in the mirror or mutter when resistance arises. A mantra like, discipline over desire, or I do what needs to be done, can become a lifeline in your toughest moments. Living by a code doesn't make you rigid. It makes you rooted. It gives you the strength to say no to distraction and yes to destiny. In a world of noise, your code is your silence. In a world of drift, your code is your anchor. 4. Embrace discomfort. Discipline does not live in comfort. It is born in friction, forged in resistance, tested in hardship. If you want to be disciplined, you must learn to befriend discomfort. As Holiday says, if it's hard, it's probably right. That's not masochism, that's wisdom. It means that the things that make you stronger are usually the ones you least want to do. The path of least resistance is the road to mediocrity. But the uncomfortable path, The one with rejection, cold, silence, uncertainty, that's the road to greatness. Discomfort trains you. It reveals what you're made of. Every time you lean into something hard, you strengthen your spirit. Start practicing discomfort today. Take cold showers. They remind your body that you don't always get what you want. Fast for a few hours longer. It reminds your mind that cravings are not commands. Say no when people expect yes. It reminds your soul that your worth is not based on people-pleasing. Have difficult conversations. They sharpen your courage. Wake up earlier than you feel like. It teaches you to lead, not follow, your emotions. None of this is about punishment. It's about preparation. Discipline is your armor, and discomfort is the forge. Every moment you choose what's hard over what's easy, you build another layer of strength. You become less reactive, less afraid, more grounded, more capable. Discipline doesn't free you from effort. It frees you through effort. It shows you that you are not your fears, your feelings, or your fatigue. You are something deeper, something stronger, something unbreakable. To build discipline today, you must begin where you are. Not with perfection, but with presence. Start small and stay consistent. Remove what doesn't matter. Define the code you live by, and walk directly into discomfort, because that's where your greatness waits. Discipline isn't about willpower. It's about identity. You are not weak. You are not lazy. You are not behind. You are simply untrained. And now you know the training ground. It's every morning you don't feel like getting up. Every task you want to skip. Every moment you choose principle over pleasure. This is how you win your life back. One disciplined act at a time. Because the truth is simple. You don't find destiny. You build it. With discipline. And that destiny can begin today. Part 5. Enemies of discipline. If discipline is destiny, then anything that sabotages your discipline is a direct threat to your future. Ryan Holiday reminds us that the enemies of discipline aren't always loud, obvious, or external. They are often subtle, internal, and seductive. They disguise themselves as comfort, reward, identity, or even rest, but their impact is devastating. To truly master discipline, we must first unmask its greatest enemies. 1. Comfort, the silent sedation. Comfort is a drug. Stay in it too long, and it becomes your prison. These words should echo in your mind every time you choose the couch over the task, the snooze button over the sunrise, the easy excuse over the difficult action. Comfort feels good, but it also keeps you stuck. It lulls you into inaction. It convinces you that you're okay when you're actually stuck, stagnant, or slowly declining. Comfort tells you, you deserve a break, even when you've done nothing to earn it. It whispers, take it easy, just when you're on the verge of a breakthrough. It's not that rest is bad. Rest is essential. But comfort without intention quickly turns into avoidance. We avoid discomfort, growth, and accountability. The solution isn't to eliminate comfort entirely, but to reframe it. Rest should be earned. It should serve your mission, not distract from it. Trade mindless comfort for meaningful recovery. Choose cold over cozy. Choose the work over the warm-up. Discipline thrives in discomfort, not ease. Second entitlement, the subtle rot. The second enemy of discipline is entitlement, the belief that you've done enough, that you've earned the right to coast. I've worked hard today, so I deserve to eat whatever I want. I've hit my goals this week, so I can skip tomorrow. Entitlement is the slow rot of achievement. It turns progress into permission. It turns effort into excuse. This enemy is especially dangerous because it often arrives disguised as confidence. But confidence should fuel your future effort, not become a reason to stop. Holiday emphasizes that the disciplined person must always guard against this trap. Discipline is not a one-time act, it's a lifestyle. You don't get to finish being disciplined. You just keep showing up day after day, because who you are becoming is more important than what you did yesterday. Gratitude kills entitlement. When you replace "I deserve this" with "I'm grateful I get to do this," everything changes. Gratitude reminds you that the opportunity to work, to grow, to rise is a gift, not a given. 3. Ego, the master of excuses. The third enemy is ego, that inner voice that demands indulgence, justification, and exception. Ego says, "You're special. You don't have to follow the rules. You've earned the right to break your own promises." Ego convinces us that discipline is for other people, that we operate above the standard. But ego is a liar, a dangerous one. It puffs you up so you fall harder. Ego tells you you're too good to struggle, too experienced to fail, too smart to need systems. Ego whispers, "You're doing fine," when you're actually drifting. The disciplined life, Holiday tells us, is a humble life. It bows to routine, to consistency, to reality. It doesn't make exceptions. It makes commitments. You kill ego with humility, with beginner's mind, with a willingness to do the hard, boring, unsexy things every single day, without applause, without shortcuts. 4. Fatigue, the depleting force. Discipline doesn't always collapse with a bang. Sometimes it fades with a whisper. One day, you're tired. The next, you skip a task. Then, you drift. Then you wonder why you feel lost. Fatigue, especially emotional fatigue, is one of the most underrated enemies of discipline. It's not just that you're tired, it's that your why has faded. You've lost connection to your purpose. You've been running on fumes. Holiday makes it clear, discipline isn't just about energy, it's about alignment. When you forget why you're doing something, the motivation to keep doing it disappears. You start asking, "What's the point?" instead of, "What's next?" The antidote to fatigue isn't just sleep. It's purpose. Purpose energizes. Purpose reminds you that your efforts matter, that your sacrifices serve something larger. To fight fatigue, reconnect with your mission daily. Write it down, speak it out loud, post it on your wall. Remind yourself, "I'm not just doing this to be busy. I'm doing it to become someone." And yes, take care of your physical body too. Sleep well, eat well, move daily. But don't stop there. Nourish your soul with reminders of why you started. Fatigue can't destroy you when you're anchored in purpose. 5. The 4 shields, your defense against sabotage. So how do we defend against these enemies? Comfort, entitlement, ego, and fatigue. Ryan Holiday offers a path forward built on 4 shields: awareness, routines, boundaries, and purpose anchoring. Awareness is the first shield. You can't fight what you don't see. Start noticing when comfort, ego, or fatigue sneak in. Name them. Call them out. Awareness gives you choice, and choice is power. Routines are the second shield. When you build strong habits, you remove the need for constant decision-making. You don't have to choose discipline every day. You simply follow your structure. Morning routines, evening shutdowns, journaling rituals, they act as anchors when motivation fades. Boundaries are the third shield. This means protecting your time, energy, and attention. Say no to distractions. Limit toxic influences. Guard your calendar like a warrior defends a castle. Boundaries prevent sabotage before it starts. Purpose anchoring is the final and most powerful shield. It means reconnecting to your mission every day. Why are you doing this? Who are you becoming? What legacy are you building? Purpose gives you the strength to push past pain, temptation, and fatigue. Because it's no longer just about you. It's about who needs you strong. Discipline is hard. That's why most people live without it. But you are not most people. You are here, now, choosing to rise. You are naming the enemies of your greatness and preparing to face them with courage. Comfort will call. Entitlement will whisper. Ego will tempt. Fatigue will drag. But you will answer with resolve, with structure, with self-awareness, and with the fire of a purpose that cannot be extinguished. Remember, the greatest threat to your destiny is not failure. It's surrender. Surrender to ease. Surrender to ego. Surrender to the soft life when the strong life is waiting. Today, you choose differently. Today, you fight back. And in that choice, discipline is born. Destiny is forged, and your true self begins to emerge. Part 6. The Destiny of Discipline. At the end of the day, when the dust settles, when the noise fades, and when every excuse has run its course, one truth remains. Discipline is destiny. It's not a catchy slogan. It's not a trendy hashtag. It's a hard-earned truth, forged in the fire of real life. Discipline is the blueprint of becoming, the invisible thread connecting who you are today to who you could become tomorrow. Discipline leads to excellence. That's the most visible fruit. The person who shows up daily, who sharpens their skills in silence, who pushes through fatigue and boredom while others retreat, this is the one who rises. Talent might give you a head start, but only discipline will carry you to the finish line. In sports, art, business, or relationships, the people who truly succeed are not the most gifted. They are the most consistent, the most resilient, the ones who embrace the grind long after the thrill has worn off. But discipline is not just about achievement. It's about self-mastery. The ability to govern your thoughts, to choose long-term reward over short-term relief, to act in alignment with your values, even when no one is watching. This is true strength. When you master yourself, life stops tossing you around. You become the calm in the storm, the one who leads with clarity while others panic. You're no longer a slave to impulse, emotion, or chaos. You become grounded. You become free. And freedom. That's the paradox. Discipline, which feels like restriction at first, unlocks the deepest form of liberty. You're no longer shackled by distractions, temptations, or regret. You stop living reactively. You start choosing, building, becoming. And in that quiet, consistent work, something profound happens. Peace. Peace is not found in luxury or escape. It's born from self-respect, from knowing you did what needed to be done, even when it was hard, from looking at your day and seeing alignment between your actions and your intentions. That peace cannot be bought. It cannot be faked. It is earned, and it is priceless. Discipline also creates something deeply human: trust. Trust from others, and more importantly, trust in yourself. People begin to rely on you. Your word means something. Your presence brings steadiness. And in a world drowning in flakiness, inconsistency, and broken promises, that kind of reliability is rare. It becomes a magnet for opportunity, for respect, for deep relationships. When you're disciplined, people know you'll show up. You'll follow through. You'll do the right thing even when it's hard. That's power. Ryan Holiday reminds us, discipline is not just a habit or a hack. It's the path. It's the way you forge the life you were meant to live. every private decision echoes into your public destiny. Every small act of effort, restraint, or perseverance writes your story, sentence by sentence. Let's bring this home. Imagine someone watching this, an ordinary person, just like you, who chooses to embrace one principle from this message. Not a total life overhaul, not some impossible transformation, just one act of discipline. Maybe it's waking up at the same time every day, or putting the phone away an hour before bed, or journaling each morning. Just one deliberate shift. They stick with it. It's not dramatic. No one notices at first, but the ripples begin. That one habit anchors them, brings order. Then another follows, and another. Soon, they're moving with intention. Decisions become clearer. Chaos fades. Self-respect rises. A year later, that same person has a different life. Not because of some stroke of luck, not because they won the lottery or discovered some hack, but because they kept showing up, day after day, choice after choice, brick by brick. And when asked how they did it, they say something simple. It wasn't talent that changed my life. It was what I was willing to do, every single day. This is your moment, not to fantasize, not to compare, but to decide. What will your destiny be? Will it be shaped by ease, comfort, and distraction, or by purpose, grit, and growth? Will you drift, or will you direct? You already know the answer. It's been whispering to you all along. So do it. Begin. Choose discipline. Choose discomfort. Choose structure. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Your future self is begging you to start. Not next week, not next year, but now. Because discipline is not just a bridge. It's the whole architecture of your life. It's how you protect what matters. It's how you unlock your potential. It's how you stop living on accident and start living with design. Discipline is the difference between reaction and reflection, between delay and decision, between potential and reality. And in the end, discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It's the only way to it. So remember this. Discipline is not what holds you back. Discipline is what sets you free. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is power. Discipline is not a burden. Discipline is your destiny. And your destiny starts now. Finally, as we come to the close of this exploration into Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday, it's vital to pause and truly absorb the powerful ideas we've uncovered. Discipline is not some abstract, distant concept reserved only for monks or elite athletes. It is a practical, accessible force that can transform every aspect of your life, starting right here, right now. At its core, discipline touches three fundamental parts of your being: your body, your mind, and your soul. These are the three pillars that support everything you are and everything you can become. Mastery over the body means honoring the physical vessel that carries you through life. It's about building habits that nurture your health, vitality, and energy. The simple acts of getting enough sleep, moving with intention, and caring for your posture might seem mundane, but they form the foundation upon which everything else rests. When your body is strong, you can endure hardship without breaking. When your body is disciplined, your will is reinforced by physical resilience. Yet discipline doesn't stop at the physical. The mind is where true battles are fought and won. It's where focus is forged and distractions are defeated. Discipline of the mind is the ability to control your thoughts and emotions instead of letting them control you. It is the strength to do what's necessary even when your feelings scream otherwise. Remember Marcus Aurelius, who wrote his meditations amid war and plague, finding clarity and calm when chaos reigned. Your mind can become a fortress of peace and purpose, but only through daily practice and deliberate self-control. At the highest level, discipline involves the soul, the seat of your values, purpose, and meaning. This is where discipline becomes more than just habit or routine. It becomes a form of spiritual armor. It protects you from drifting through life aimlessly and guides you toward your highest potential. When Florence Nightingale dedicated herself to a life of service despite opposition, or when Winston Churchill stood firm through the darkest days of history, they exemplified discipline as a moral and existential commitment. Discipline is the quiet force that helps you remember who you truly want to be and keeps you moving in that direction, no matter what. Another critical lesson from the book is the idea of subtraction as discipline. Discipline is not just about adding more to your life, more tasks, more work, more struggle. Often, it is about removing the unnecessary. It's about identifying and eliminating distractions, toxic influences, and endless options that drain your focus and steal your energy. In today's hyper-connected world, where your attention is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions, discipline is the radical act of saying no to what doesn't serve you. It's the courage to clear the clutter in your mind and environment so that you can channel your effort where it matters most. What truly stands out is how discipline is a form of quiet power. The power of consistent, small actions taken day after day. Success rarely comes from sudden bursts of effort or miraculous breakthroughs. It comes from the steady accumulation of small wins, from showing up even when it feels tedious or exhausting. Like the gentle but persistent drip of water that carves through rock, your disciplined habits gradually shape your destiny, even if the results aren't immediately visible. So now, I want to issue a direct and heartfelt challenge to you. Choose one area of your life where discipline is lacking or where you long for improvement. It might be your physical health, your work ethic, your learning, or your relationships. Pick one promise you will keep to yourself, one habit you will build, no matter how small, that will move you toward mastery in that area. Maybe it's waking up 15 minutes earlier each day to read or meditate. Maybe it's going to bed on time, or cutting out a bad habit that's holding you back. Whatever it is, start today. Start right now. Don't wait for motivation to magically appear. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The power of discipline lies in starting, in the commitment to act even when you don't feel ready. The path to greatness is paved by decisions like these, small, intentional, consistent choices that add up over time. And when you begin, you send a message to yourself. You are serious about your future. You are ready to take control. You are willing to do what it takes. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, one disciplined step at a time. And if you ever feel discouraged, remember that every person you admire, every success story you've heard, started just like this. No one wakes up perfect or fully formed. They get there by persevering through doubt, fatigue, and temptation. They get there by staying committed to their discipline, long after the initial excitement fades. If this video has moved you, if it has sparked something inside that says, "I want to be better, I want to be stronger," then I invite you to take one more step with me. Please like this video to show your support. Subscribe for more insights that can help you build the habits of success, and share this message with someone who needs it. You never know who might be waiting for exactly this kind of encouragement. A friend, a family member, or even a stranger who could be changed by hearing about the power of discipline. Remember, discipline is not a punishment you endure, or a burden you carry. It is a gift you give yourself, the gift of control, freedom, and transformation. It is the seed from which your future is grown. And the moment you decide to cultivate that seed is the moment your destiny begins to take shape. So, choose now. Choose discipline. Choose the hard but rewarding path. Choose the future you deserve, because your destiny is waiting, and it's written not in your dreams, but in your daily actions.